Welcome everyone to this talk on cross-industry collaboration organized by Swedish Stockings. We are streaming from this amazing interior design store and studio called Rscued at Södermalm in Stockholm. Feel free to write questions during this stream because we're having an audience Q&A at the end. And we're really happy to see that so many have signed up for this talk. My name is Per Styregård, and I'm joined by three really amazing entrepreneurs that have been working with sustainability and innovation in their brands and organizations very successfully, and more specifically have also worked with collaborations across industries that we will get down to in detail. I'll start introducing Linn Frisinger at Swedish Stocking, who is the CEO and founder of the company. And what's the very short story of what you are doing at Swedish Stockings?
Well, Swedish Stockings is the first and only sustainable hosiery company today. And the idea actually from the beginning came from a documentary film called The Light Bulb Conspiracy. It's about how products are designed in order to age quickly to boost consumption all the time. And in this film, they brought up tights as an example of a product that has gone from being a top quality product back in the 1950s to become women's #1 wear and tear clothing item as it is today. And a lot of people don't think about that tights is actually a petroleum product. It's based from oil. And what we do is that all the products that we produce is produced from recycled nylon. So that's the short version.
And it's amazing you're still the only hosiery company that's sustainable. When do you expect competition?
Well, we want competition. Our mission from the very beginning has been to change and influence the entire hosiery industry. And we have done collabs before in order to achieve other companies to start producing the same way as us. And we feel that when other companies do, we have also reached our mission. So we're just waiting.
And arranging this talk on cross-industry collaboration, why is that concept so interesting and important to you?
Well, for us, from the beginning, it was the only way to actually be able to close the loop, to recycle the old tights into tables. And I think cross collaborations it's a way for us to go out of our own little bubble and look into what other companies are doing. How can we benefit from working together with other companies, either to achieve a more sustainable solution, as in our case, or a more innovative idea, or it's about benefit from other companies or brands or people.
We're going to have to talk more about these beautiful tables we're sitting at. But first I want to introduce also Johan and Johannes. Johan Damgaard.
That works. Yeah.
Yes. And you have a number of very well-known, interesting companies on your CV that you're working with and have worked with. However, today we will focus on Rscued, right?
Yes.
And what is Rscued?
Okay, so Rscued is an amazing little idea that was founded in Helsingborg, and there was a bunch of French that realized that 90% of all fruits and vegetables are imported to Sweden through Helsingborg, and we all know the fact that 30% of all the food and everything we carry home from the supermarket are being thrown away. So these French, they came up with the idea Rscued, who started as a marmalade company, and then it was Rscued Fruits. And then I joined the company and helped them a bit with the design, and I cut off fruits because I realized that we could rescue more than just fruits and vegetables. It's about rescuing resources behind everything. It's gasoline, it's electricity, it's time, money, love behind one apple. That we are putting into a bottle of great juice.
But you're still working with fruits and vegetables.
Of course, that's our core, and but we try to try to rescue more resources. Last year, we rescued around 400 tons of fruits and vegetables that was going to be thrown away.
That's
I
amazing.
also used to say that sometimes I just like realize that we are almost 15 people working from and living with families and getting paid from something that was just thrown away before. So that's it's an amazing idea.
That's amazing. At Rscued, you call yourself a partner and varumärkespolis. How do you translate that?
I try to. The Rscued is actually run today by. We have a great CEO, we have a great sales manager, we have a great marketing manager, and we have an amazing organization. So today, I'm actually just helping out and adding some ideas. And what I love to do is to create brands and package things that are being sold from the shelf. That's the reason to get up in the morning, I used to say.
And we have to get back to you as well about the collaborations that you have great examples, very concrete examples of. But first, I also want to introduce Johannes Karlström at Note Design Studio, designer and founder of the design studio. And I know that you work in a number of different fields, so please give us a short and clear understanding of what you do at the studio at Note.
Yeah, we normally I say that we are a small design studio based in Stockholm, but we have been growing a little bit in the latest years, so we're starting to be somewhat have a little bit of volume within the company. So we're 18 people now in the studio. We work with architecture, interior architecture, branding, strategy, product design, and all over the field basically. And we also work in different scales. From basically, we done a hotel, like a whole big hotel, to a small wristwatch. So that
what hotel?
That hotel is called Grow Hotel. It's based in Solna here in Stockholm.
That was your first hotel?
Yeah. Not the last, I hope. But
that was fun?
Yeah, it was fun. A hotel is a nice thing. Not in Corona times, but but normally, it's nice. It's like a condensed version of life, basically. Yeah.
I know that now you sound pretty humble when you talk about the company, but I also know that you have a pretty bold payoff of your sort of ambition that you've been working with, right?
Yeah, that's true. Humble outwards and bold inside. No, but we decided, we started off as a normal interior architectural practice a few years ago. And then we realized that we wanted to do something else. We wanted to do a change, and we wanted to work globally and with on a higher level. So we just stated that, okay, let's be the best in the world. And for a Swede to say that, maybe you say that on a regular basis, but for us to say that, it was, we were ashamed at the beginning and talking really quiet, like, let's be the best in the world. But now, a few years later, you can't measure that, of course, but that's the ambition, and we're going somewhere.
I think all three of you seem quite unique and very admirable. So I think it's good to be a little bold, definitely.
Yeah.
I want to go back to Lynn and the tables, and please. This is such an amazing pieces we have in front of us, and to touch them and see them live. Tell us how you came up with the idea of creating these tables and the story behind them.
Yes, it was actually our customers that helped us, because when we started Swedish Stockings, we were thinking a lot of the production, the material, the first part of the circle. But then we got so many questions from customers, like, can we send back the tights when they eventually rip? What should we do with them? And our tights is not made from old tights, which a lot of people think. They are made from spillover material from other nylon production, because we are not yet able to recycle the old tights into the new ones. But still, we felt that we don't want them to end up in landfills, and we want to take care of them somehow.
And that's what usually they do otherwise end up in landfills.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
that's why we started the recycling program. But we didn't expect to get so many tights back. And after a while, we filled up my old stable with 1,000 of tights. And my dad said that this is not possible. We will have to do something with the tights. And he runs a glass fiber industry where he produces tanks from glass fiber, and that's also plastic, like the tights actually. So he tried to grind the tights down and use them as filler materials in his tanks. So instead of using virgin plastic in the tanks, he had like 10 to 15% old tights instead. And after a while, we felt that this it could be cool to do something that we could actually show our customers what we are doing, and maybe being able to sell it as well. So then we start to talk with the designer, and we said that the only thing we have to do is they have to be. We only have cylinders to work with from the factory, and he started to do some sketches, and then we started to produce the tables in my dad's factory in Köping, where I am from.
So the form actually is from your father's company working with tanks.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
So it's the same.
And what are the tanks used to before? He used them for any kind of industrial use?
He still used them for that.
He still used them for that.
It's not these ones exactly, but he used them for like the to separate oil from water, basically. So it can be for restaurant business and so on.
And is this a concept of working that you will continue with and trying to find other collaborations?
Yes, absolutely. I think when it comes to recycling, a lot of us think about recycling that it has to be that an old pair of tights has to be a new pair of tights, or an old plastic bottle have to be a new plastic bottle. But that is not always the most efficient way of doing recycling, of closing the loop. And I think it's impossible to do that within your own business all the time. You have to look outside, and for us now, this was the first thing we did, and now we are looking into doing something else with the tights.
Have you had reactions within the trade already? Other people getting curious about, you're doing this with the tights, maybe it
absolutely.
drops off, right?
We have already gotten a lot of questions, and we have recycling stations out in where we sell the tights. We normally have these recycling boxes, so they can also go and leave their tights there.
How many are there?
In each table, I think in this big one it's around 300 to 400 tights.
And how many tables?
We have 5 different styles, and now we are producing them after we are getting orders. But so.
Well, I think you could buy them here on site, so we have to consider that. Let's get back about the tables again, but I wanted to talk to you, about your ways of working in collaborating. I know that you brought up 3 different interests that you work with earth, you work with ice cream, and you work with clean drinks, right? And could you describe, maybe pick one of them, or the most obvious or most simple example of cross-industry collaborations that you do?
Okay, so the thing is about rescuing resources is that it's not super easy to change old traditions and behavior. We have met people that they have waste, or like they have old fruit, and it was too complicated to change their way, so they were like, "No, we're throwing it away because it's too complicated to send it to you guys." After a while, mostly the younger generation, they are like, "Yeah, of course, we will send it to you, no problem." But even if we rescued 400 tons, when you squeeze like a fruit or an apple, you get like 50% or maybe tops 80% out of that fruit. so volume. So our focus is to find more resources to rescue. It's not super easy once you grow as a company. So we had to come up with an idea like, okay, how can we rescue more, but maybe not, so everything doesn't have to be like rescued. So then the idea about corporations or collabs came up. The first thing was, of course, because we were throwing away a lot of waste from the pressed fruit, right? So one of the founders, she came up with an idea to buy this big compost machine that turns fruit waste into soil after, like, I think it's like 24, 48 hours, something like that. So then we have this machine. So we throw all the waste into this machine, and then we create soil. And then we realized, because we tried to plant with it, and it was too nutritious, so the plants died. So we have to blend it with the normal soil. So we contacted a company. I think it's Hasselfors. Sorry if it's the wrong brand now. So we're sending the waste to Hasselfors. They are packing it into a bag, and then we signed a contract with Plantagen, who's one of the biggest gardening companies in Sweden. So now they're selling our soil.
Genius.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be quick. And then ice cream, because ice cream is good, right?
Well, ice cream is always fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a cooperation with the Lejonet och Björnen, where we had a lot of. One of the fruits that are most being like wasted in Sweden is bananas, right? Bananas, and it's hard to do something about bananas because you have to peel them by hand. So then we came up with the idea to let's make some banana ice cream.
But it's still a banana, not the skin, right?
No, of course, it's just the skin goes into the soil. So we take
of
care
course.
of everything.
Yeah.
And then so we made a vegan banana ice cream. And then the next idea was like, let's do apple ice cream, and then we got another call from Göteborgs Kex, a biscuit company, and they were like, hey, we got some leftovers, some biscuits here. Do you want to use that? Yeah, let's do apple cake ice cream. So we created this ice cream. Do you want me to continue?
No, that's fine. One more question
more
there.
products.
How do you work together? Now you're working together with another company, another industry. How do you fill in each other? How do you make sure that you have a win-win situation there? Because sometimes you end up being a bigger company or a smaller company, or you have more money or less money. How do you keep that beneficial for both?
That's a good question, and I think that it's no matter what kind of business you do, always have to be a win-win situation, and everyone has to make some money out of it. You can't be sustainable if you're not scalable or profitable. You have to make some money, otherwise it's hard to get people to work for free. But it usually comes up with an idea. You meet people in the same industry, you talk, hey, let's do something together, and you come up with a business model that works for everyone. But the idea with Rscued is that we don't have to own the distribution or the sales. For example, the next example with clean drinks, it's a functional drink in Swedish local. We send the juice to them, Rscued juice. They produce the clean by Rscued. We make them more sustainable, and they sell it and do everything. So we make some money out of the juice. We get some marketing, and we get our brand out there. And Rscued is not only about selling products. We want to be more like a certification or a flag of sustainable brand to make people to realize that we have to be more care about our resources.
Very smart. Yeah. Johannes, I want to ask you about your examples, and I'm sure you have several examples. Something you mentioned to me had connection to Korea that I thought was very interesting. Would you mind tell us about that and how it works as a couple of different companies working together from different industries?
Yeah, sure. We're working with a brand in Korea. They are a furniture producer. They don't have this specific sustainable profile yet, but we are planning to introduce that as well. But as a cross collaboration, they contacted us to help them to develop in their market. They wanted to have some Scandinavian aesthetics, which we have. but when we traveled there and met them, we realized that there are lots of beautiful things in Korea already. So we didn't need to put our Scandinavian aesthetic on top of that. And what we have started working with them. But one project that's quite interesting is they have a traditional, really nice pottery. The ceramics in Korea is beautiful, historically really beautiful. So we told them that we wanted to do something with that. So now they have put us in contact with local pottery makers that has these traditional skills. And we do the design. They give us feedback on how to make that, our designs in their way, and then the company we work for, they sell it. So there will be perhaps this autumn a launch for that. Yeah.
So, but how do you figure out, because there are several potters involved, and there's the Korean company designer, and it's you, and you need to sort of figure out how much time you're going to spend on this, and how much money, and what will be the outcome, who will get as much from this. How does it work? How do you communicate between these companies? How do you arrange that?
Yeah, I mean, the business side of it, this project is not about money for us. I think maybe the Korean company will make some money, but I guess the potter makers, they will be the ones earning some. But that's good. It's a big market. We don't have like a huge name there yet. So for us, it's just a way of doing something really nice, to learn about their culture and their techniques, and to adapt that into our knowledge. But yeah, as a designer, I guess we are not a producer ourselves. So just in this context, a designer is often in the middle of different industries. That's part of the work, I guess. We have contact with the producers, different kind of producers of metal, wood, textile, different industries when we make stuff. So I think it's a really nice thing. It's one of those things that encourage us to new stuff, new things.
So that could be working across industries could enable you to realize more of your ideas, and where specifically is that powerful to use, in what exact instances?
I think it's powerful for everyone. I mean, both as persons and as companies, we need to broaden the views all the time. And we as a company, and me as a person, and I guess all of us, we want to be challenged, and we want to learn new things. And I think as per our ambition to be one of those global kind of heavy names in our industry, we need to think outside the box, and you can't do that without input from others. Yeah.
And thank you. And back to Lynn, how you work? You work very, very focused on affecting and influencing the industry, being more sustainable, working with innovation. The cross-industry collaborations, how can that help you do that even more powerful? How will you spread that way of working in your industry?
Well, in our industry, as I said before, we have been doing some collaborations, helping other companies producing tights in the way we are doing them. And I think that this, Johannes also mentioned this, that it's also about realizing that you can't be best within each different area, and that's something that we can see more and more companies also now realize, that it's impossible to be the best producing all types of clothes or shoes or whatever, and if you want to be a very successful company, I think you need help from smaller, more specialized brands. And I think especially during these times now, this will be even more relevant, that we actually step outside the box and help each other in order to be more innovative.
These tables, to get back to very concrete here, they have different names, right? Mm-hmm. And they're names of
of inspiring women, like different women. Now one table is named after me, but that's not actually, and I was not the one named it.
You're inspiring, absolutely. Yeah.
But it was not me. It was our sustainability manager Andrea that decided the names. But there is names. It's named after different women that have, in a lot of different ways, been inspiring to us within sustainability.
And how are you going to sell them, apart from here?
Apart from here at Rscued, we're going to sell them. Mainly, it's going to be online at our own web shop.
Yeah.
And then we have got a lot of requests from especially retailers that want us to have them. They are going to be at NK this autumn.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to say Rscued and SwedishStockings.com.
I also wanted to ask all three of you, or anyone pick up that question, how cross-industry collaboration, how this way of working together could be facilitated better, could be more easier for people to get into, other entrepreneurs, other people in general that are interested in that way of working. How could that be facilitated and made easier and more common in your sense? How, or even makes it even more easier to get to that way of working for you? Have you, any of you, a comment there?
No, I can just speak from my own experience, and I think these kind of setups, when people sit down and discuss and talk together, it's obviously a door opening, and it makes you think. But I think in many industries, people are really stressed, and we work so hard every day, and just to put off time to have a meeting outside of what you're supposed to do, or like open another door to someone and have a sit down and talk. I think that's one of the key things for us. Because we try at Note, we try to not work like 110% all the time. We need to have a little bit of slack in between, so we can make meetings happen and like try to develop new ideas and meet new people. So that's one message I would like to give. Have some free time as well.
That's a good point. Johan?
I just come from a board meeting where we discussed this. Like when you have time to think about the future and the strategy and everything, and it's really hard, especially these days. But another side of me says, do I want these ideas to be facilitated? Because I kind of like my ideas, and I don't want to share them always with. Because if we come up with a great idea, I don't think that Lynn wants to share her. You have a lot of ideas, like what you can do for your stockings and everything. So I think that I'm a little bit like, but of course we have to share ideas. It's a good thing. But some ideas you want to keep to yourself, because
of course.
But I get a lot of ideas. Like when you start talking about the table and Johannes about the design, it's like, okay, what can I do with this plastic? Can we do bottles? Can we do like bags for our coffee? Can we do da-da-da? But yeah.
Can you maybe come up with something right off the bat? Some collaboration between any of your companies?
Yeah, I think so. I think we might have a
but you
cooperation.
keep that idea, right?
Talked about kaffe.
Om du vill släppa den idén. Sorry for speaking Swedish.
Well, we are looking into different option of what material we could actually produce tights from, and one thing that we have been looking into is coffee. What's the name of it?
It's like coffee. What is it? Sump waste.
The spillover from coffee.
Ground.
Yeah,
coffee
exactly.
Grounds,
coffee
yes.
grounds.
Yeah.
And that is something that we are really interested in, because we know it's possible, but we also have to make the tights in the best quality, and they need to be nice and everything. So we can never let go of that only in order to produce something that is sustainable. That is very important for us. Like design quality is number one, and the sustainability factor is an extra plus. But we will never produce something that is only sustainable. But when we can do the coffee tights really good, nice looking, and and great quality, then we will go to you.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that usually when it comes to leaving you leftover fruits, younger managers are usually better than older, so to say. It's a generational thing, partly. It's one of many things in play here, maybe. Do you think, are there different industries, different areas, different subjects that have come further along in this work, and that's easier to collaborate with? They're more open to collaborations of these sorts, and there are other areas that are more sort of conservative and less other things that influence this. Any thoughts on that?
Isn't everything a generation thing? I think that, I mean, in my world, when we started our new coffee company, Rscued, I wanted to involve younger people because they think different than I do. I consider myself as pretty young, but I know that I'm not when I'm looking myself into the mirror. But it's you have to have all the different angles and ideas from different, like you want the routine from more older people perhaps, and then you need the new ideas from younger people. When we met first time, Johannes, you were young, and you still look young, but you probably also have younger architects and designers, and you need to fill up with competence.
That's one important part. Yeah,
definitely.
For sure. Yeah, I guess, generations, the younger guys in the office, they are more flexible for sure. And also now, like in these days when everything needs to be digital, there's a greater openness to that. So what's going on? No?
Sorry?
No, I just saw it.
Yeah, I was
like, whoa, what's happening?
There are coming some questions here. I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your answer.
I know.
Yeah,
so it's fine.
Yeah, so we have a couple of questions here. Have you guys kept fluent communication on efficiency when collaborating with others? Sorry? How have you guys kept fluent communication and efficiency when collaborating with others? And I was touching that subject. How have you facilitated that?
So when we went into corporations, how we communicated, or
yes. Sorry again.
Yeah, I think you need to.
Also kept fluent communication. How have you facilitated a very good communication between your these parts that are collaborating with?
I think like a hugely important thing when you collaborate is to identify which kind of profession or competence you have and what you should contribute with, and then because it's always like really hard when you're starting to step on each other's competences. But if you know what you're going to bring, then you can start to listen and to adapt and to communicate. So that's a good thing, I think, that everyone involved in the project knows what their role is. Does that answer the question?
That was a good answer, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And let me see. How much percentage of the tables are made from tights? That's a very specific and good question.
Yes, it actually depends on a little bit. This one down here is a little bit darker. The darker they get, the more tights it is. So around, I would say this one is around 50% tights, 60. This one is more like 25, 30, and that you can see because it's lighter, and it's combined with recycled glass fiber as well, so that's what you can see in it. So it differs from around 25% up to 60, 65%.
And that reflects on the color?
Yes.
Amazing. But it doesn't reflect on the surface?
Well, yes, it does, because you or no, not the surface, only the color.
Yeah, the surface is something that you control in other ways. Yeah,
right. So
because
you can decide if you want to have
right?
it lighter or darker.
Yeah, very personal. Yeah. We have another question. Do you accept tights from any hosiery brand or just Swedish Stockings?
Any brand. That's the whole point of it. That we want to clean up the industry the way we can, and when we realized that we could do something out of them, then we said that, well, we have always accepted any brand, but now we feel that's it's a way for us also to encourage other brands to start some kind of recycling program. But in the meantime, they can send any brand to us.
Yeah. Yes. Here's another question that I touched on as well. Would we ever be able to see a collaboration between the three of you? And you had been already starting to discuss that. So hopefully we will.
I got a new idea here. How small can the mold be? Can it be smaller? Like,
I mean, the molds that we have in my dad's factory, they are quite limited. But we could produce basically anything as long as we find a mold.
We could do coffee cups.
Absolutely.
And Johannes can design them.
Yes, we can.
Let's do it.
I think we have something very successful here.
And you can promote it.
I promote it. Yes. I think we need to sort of wrap this up with a last question, and that's also touching on what we just said. But if you look ahead and dream a little bit, and not giving away all your great ideas now, but all three of you, maybe that could be a wild guess or a dream. What kind of collaboration like this might we see in the future for your company? We'll start with Lynn. I'll start with anyone, actually. Yeah, that wants to pick that up.
Yeah, I can start maybe.
Just short.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what we do is we do three-dimensional stuff mostly, or physical things in the physical world. And now within this crisis, we have learned that it doesn't always work with physical stuff because people don't meet in physical places as much as before. So we started to develop the digital experiences and like creating digital platforms and stuff like that, which we haven't done at all basically before. So now, yeah, I think the what's the name? How do you say that? Collaborations. That's okay. The collaborations we do now is with 3D artists and those kind of digital young guys from all over the world. Hi.
We're looking forward to see more of that now, what that happens.
I can go second. I was starting to think about like the biggest beverage brand in the world. What's the biggest beverage brand, would you say, Per? You into beverages and drinks and stuff?
That's the red.
The red
tin
one?
can, isn't it?
The red tin can?
Yeah.
So Coke, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so let's imagine like a Rscued white ribbon all over the Coke. That would be amazing, right? All over the world. Think big.
We're looking forward to that too.
Hard question. I just have these tables in my head now. But I mean, for us, still, our dream is to actually be able to recycle the tights into new ones, because then that is nothing that yet is impossible, and that would be an amazing thing for us to actually being able to the first company ever to being fully closing the loop within this business. So that's a dream, and then we can the other brands that don't take care of their waste, we can still produce products for them. But our own, we would like to recycle if possible.
And how specifically do you work on that? Do you work with with science and research and chemists, and how do you sort of try to push that development?
Yes, we are in different kind of research groups. We are working very closely with our factory down in Italy that also have a lot of contacts within this area. So there is different ways, but it's also about actually taking meetings and meet people and just research basically.
And do you have any wild guess when they will happen?
I think it's not that far away. We can see that it's possible, so to say, but it's not efficient in any way. The tights would cost thousands of thousands. So we have, I would say, a couple of years.
That's pretty soon. Amazing.
Something like that.
I like that. Well, I think we're getting close to wrapping this up. And I would like to thank Rscued Interior Design Studio here that we are. And I'd like to thank Linn Friesinger and Johannes Karlström and Johan Damgaard. And above all, I'd like to thank everybody that has been listening and watching. And we are saying thank you from Södermalm in Stockholm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.